And here is the Writer's Almanac for Friday, the 16th of August, 2019. It's the anniversary of the great geomagnetic storm of 1989, which particularly affected computers across Canada and which shut down the stock market in Toronto when the primary and backup computer systems at the stock exchange failed one right after the other. A geomagnetic storm caused by an increase in solar flares, which in turn produced a CME, a coronal mass ejection, high levels of solar radiation toward the Earth, which affected microchips and caused computer problems across North America. A similar storm the previous March had taken out the Hydro-Quebec power grid. Now that scientists are aware of the effects of geomagnetic storms, they monitor solar activity and keep an eye out for these events, which usually take about a day and a half to reach our atmosphere, a lead time that allows them to take power grids and satellites offline, protect them from permanent damage. It was on this day, 1896, gold was discovered in the Yukon Territory in Canada, and the Klondike Gold Rush was on. 3 miners found the gold in Rabbit Creek near Dawson. Word spread among the locals. People came in to stake claims. But it took a long time for the news to reach Seattle and San Francisco. It took almost a year. But when it did, 100,000 people set off for the Yukon to try to make their fortunes. A few thousand of them struck it rich, and the rest got nothing. Famous photographs of long lines of prospectors and their pack animals trekking over the snowy mountains, all of them heavy laden because Canada required anyone coming in to bring a year's supply of provisions. It's the birthday of one of Africa's most celebrated poets, the Nigerian poet Christopher Okigbo, born in Nigeria, 1932, killed in the War for Biafran independence in September 1967. And it's the birthday of the fantasy author Diana Wynne Jones, London, 1934, wrote nearly 40 books, mostly for young readers, best known for her series The Chronicles of Crestomancy. It's the birthday of the writer who the Washington Post called the poet laureate of sour alleys and dark bars of racetracks and long shots, Charles Bukowski, born in Andernach, Germany, in 1920. He grew up in Los Angeles, had a rough childhood. Father had a violent temper, used to beat the boy. Bukowski was 13 when a friend gave him his first drink of alcohol, and Bukowski said, "This is going to help me for a very long time." Published his first story when he was 24, a story called Aftermath of a Lengthy Rejection Slip. And the rejection slip in the story reads, "Dear Mr. Bukowski," again, this is a conglomeration of extremely good stuff and other stuff so full of idolized prostitutes, morning after vomiting scenes, misanthropy, praise for suicide, etc., that it is not quite for a magazine of any circulation at all. This is, however, pretty much a saga of a certain type of person, and in it I think you've done an honest job. Possibly we will print you sometime, but I don't know exactly when. That depends on you. Charles Bukowski worked at odd jobs, pickle factory, dog biscuit factory, slaughterhouse, post office, and then when he was 35, he started writing poetry. His great patron was John Martin, the publisher of Black Sparrow Press, who loved Bukowski's work and started Black Sparrow with the sole aim of publishing anything Bukowski wrote. Here's a poem for today by Edgar Allan Poe, entitled Hymn. At morn, at noon, at twilight dim, Maria, thou hast heard my hymn. In joy and woe, in good and ill, Mother of God, be with me still. When the hours flew brightly by, and not a cloud obscured the sky, my soul, lest it should truant be, thy grace did guide to thine and thee. Now, when storms of fate o'ercast darkly my present and my past, let my future radiant shine with sweet hopes of thee and thine. A hymn by Edgar Allan Poe. And that's the Writer's Almanac for Friday, the 16th of August. Be well, do good work, and keep in touch.